Okay, here we go. Task number 18, arcs. So an arc is an interesting thing. It's one of those shapes that is derived from the circle. In fact, an arc is a portion of the circumference of a circle. Now, how we define that is based on the tools that we have. So we've got the arc tool, the 2-point arc tool, the 3-point arc tool, and then the pi. Each one of those does something slightly different. So again, each one of those does something slightly different. And with that, you'll see that the way that we define what we're going to do with each of them is going to dictate the outcome. So let's start at the top with the arc tool. The arc tool, and this is coming directly from the Google Sketchup main page. The arc tool, with this tool, you can set a center point. Protractor appears to help you set the beginning and ending of the arc based on your desired angle. And this tool creates an open arc. So an open arc versus a closed arc. So I'm actually going to draw a circle real quick to show you what we're talking about here. So we have a circle. There we go. And if we draw a pi section here, what we're talking about in an arc is this right here. So the outside portion. And what we're looking for is a way to define this, how much. So it could be a really, really tiny portion where my pointer is right now, or it could be, you know, from here on all the way the other way around the circle. So it doesn't matter if it's small or big, it's still an arc. So with that, an open arc would be if, and let's see if the erase tool cooperates when we do this. So we get rid of that. So this would be our pi shape. If we get rid of that, and we get rid of that, this is an open arc. I'm going to get rid of that because we're going to show you how to draw that with the specific arc tools. So again, it's all derived from a circle. So we'll start with arc. So begin, same thing as any other of the tools that we've really used. You have your first click, which helps start the whole process off. So this pointer is allowing me to determine where the start of my arc and how far out I'm going to be. So this is the length away from that center. You can see again down in the lower right hand corner. So let's go about 8, almost 9 feet. And then that then allows me to determine how much of that arc, and you can see an angle measurement in the lower right hand corner. So let's go 90 degrees. There's a 90-degree arc right there. Set away that length that we originally had from the center, and you can see how it pops up again right there. So that's our first one. So I'm going to get rid of that. Next, we have our 2-point arc, and again, coming right from the good old Google's SketchUp page. Our 2-point arc is defined as this tool can click to set 2 points and then drag out essentially the arc aspect of it to create the arc. So let's do that. So we select our 2-point arc, we choose 0.1, and this is our base measurement here. It can be the diameter to a certain extent, but it doesn't necessarily have to be. So there's my second one. I can physically set that in the lower right hand corner, and then I can drag, and they call this the bulge, and that is, as I said, it could be something simple, and it could be part of the it could be essentially the diameter of it, or it could be a chord or secant, which you can see in the, or it can be something else entirely. So that's what we're measuring there, is the distance from that baseline out, and it can get really big, or it can get really, really gradual and small. Okay, so let's get out of that one. Moving on, 3-point arc. Same thing. Right from the definition, this tool enables you to draw an open arc based on a pivot point. So what we're looking at is we start here, come down, and again you can define what you're doing here by angle and length depending on which part of this function you're at. So let's start that again. So start, length, there, and that becomes your pivot. So you can, again, you can move in multiple directions, and this one allows you to do some pretty unique things. For me, this one, the first two, and pi, which will be the last one, the 2-point arc, the arc tool, and pi are the three that I tend to use the most, just because they allow a specific element of control. This one is a little bit more freewheeling, but you still can find uses for it. And then last, and definitely not least, our pi tool, which will create a closed arc, or a pi. So this becomes a face when we're done. So same thing, you see the geometry, the protractor to start, you figure out how long that side or that will be. You can again control that, and then open it up. So let's go do that 90 degrees again. So that is essentially a radius measure, and then you create a enclosed face that you could then manipulate in other ways, such as extruding it, etc. I'm just putting that in there just to show you that you can do it. So there's the last one. That's pi. That's mainly what I have for you. This is a pretty quick, simple concept to master. It's using it effectively when you get into building solid objects. Each one of those, having the ability to designate how an arc is put into a larger drawing is quite important. And the reason that you have that flexibility is because the other pieces of the geometry might require you to do something different. And that's why we have those multiple tools. So the arc tools, arc, come on, 2-point arc, 3-point arc, and pi. I just wanted to pop them up one more time. This again is task 18, arcs, and that's all I have for you. Good luck with it, and talk to you again later.